You know, every once in a while I get to work on records that probably has some elements that don't necessarily fit. For example, a kick that doesn't work with the song, or a snare that is not punchy enough, that's not snappy enough. I think that's the right word for snare. And you might need to replace some things. And then most times, you know, you reach out to the producer and be like, Alpha, can you change this snare? Or can you change this kick? But sometimes the guy might not be available and you might need to do that yourself. And if you don't know a convenient way to do it, you might find yourself trying to replace the snare loop by copying and pasting snare samples in your session, which is ridiculous, by the way. Don't do that. Just wait for the producer if you have to do that, because that's going to take too much time. All right, but there's a solution that can help you with sample replacement quickly, efficiently, and in a much more humanized way when it comes to replacing samples for live drum recording. And I'm talking about the brand new Waves inTrigger plugin. And today I'm going to walk you through the features of this amazing plugin and show you how to use it. All right, so let's dive into it real quick. The first thing you will notice when you open the plugin is the fact that you have this trigger session, you have the detection session, and you have this sort of sample session. Now this way you're going to add your samples for replacement or blending. Actually, if you look down into this master fader area, you see that we have source and triggers, which means you can either fully replace the sample by selecting the trigger or blend with your existing source. That's very good if you just want to layer your sound. So let me walk you through how this works. So let's say we want to replace the snare. What we're going to do first is click learn so that the plugin can learn the dynamics of the snare performance. This is mostly useful for live drum recording. All right, but let's just do that here for now. Right, so this is clearly a beat made in FL or something. Typically those samples are the same, like the velocity is the same, except you randomize the velocity while you are arranging your beats. And once we've done that, we can now proceed to replacing the sample or layering the sample to get the desired result that we want. So there are a few ways we can do that. We'll come down to sample. You can either drag a sample and just drop it here, or you can click this folder to go straight to your sample library and pick whatever sample you want to use to replace or layer your sample with. So I'm just going to pick one now. Let's go to snares. And boom, just like that, we loaded a new sample into the inTrigger to layer or replace our sound with. So let's listen to just the sample that we replaced it with. So I moved to trigger. You can hear that's the new snare, right? Right, just like that, we've replaced it. Like I said, we can decide to layer the previous snare with a new sample and just blend it in. And to do that is just as simple as coming down here and just pulling down your trigger to your source and just blend into taste, essentially. So this is our trigger. This is our original snare. That's them together. I'm not sure both of them are working together for this demonstration, but you get the point. And there are other things you can do here. You could actually adjust the tune of the sample you just imported into inTrigger. So for example, we could do that, right? And you could also pan it if you wanted to. Right, you can hear the new sample playing on the left. And also you can adjust the level as well and the delay. So this creates a pre-delay so that there's a bit of delay between the added snare and the already existing sample. So let's listen to that. You can hear that. That's giving us like a flaming type effect. So that's one way to actually load a new sample into inTrigger. Another way to do this is by using the search icon here to open up Waves Cosmos, boom, which is Waves sample library, which is actually quite nice. There's so many amazing samples here. Let's select snare, for example. That's what we're looking for, right? Enable DAW sync, double click to select the sample. We can now audition the sample along with the beat playing. You can hear that. I really like this one. I mean, that's very, very cool, right? Very straightforward and easy to use. And you can actually layer some more samples here. So let's say you want to blend more than one snare sample. You can just add. Again, the same process. Either drag and drop your snare here or go to your folder or go to Cosmos. Very, very easy to use. We also have this detection window as well. This helps us to target the main sample that we want to replace. And again, this is useful if you're doing live drum recording, because if you're doing live drum recording, you'll get multiple drum kits recorded into, say, your snare mic, for example. And you can come and use this to target what you want to to mainly focus on. If I pull this back down, you see that the target has shifted from this, which is the main snare, to allowing some of the other sound to come through. If we are doing this with a drum loop that had maybe hi-hat or something else, it will be represented by more of these dots around this detection window. It's actually quite nice. So there are other things we could do. Let's click down here. We could do a lot more editing to the sample down here. So let's select this one, for example. Select your sample start. You can do sample end. You can do fade out, you can do fade in. Again, you can do more fine tuning here. You could do filters, right? You can do filters, you can do drive, some saturation. This is actually a very dope and creative way to replace samples to your taste, like 100% to what you want. And there's also this humanize function. This again will be very, very useful if you're replacing samples for live drum recording. And you have random and you have follower. So random basically just randomizes the velocity of your playing so that it can feel more natural. And we have some more useful trigger settings here, like this trigger shape. This allows you to align your samples perfectly with your original sound source, which is actually quite cool. And then you have gate as well, you know, if you want to do some gating. Again, it's a very, very straightforward and easy to use plugin. In my own use case scenario, which would probably be the same with 90% of you guys watching this channel, because I don't necessarily work on live recording, this would be great for just replacing samples on songs that need better samples. For example, if you have a beat that needs a stronger kick, or we just need to layer a kick, or we need to layer a snare, just like this. Yeah, very straightforward and easy to use. So yeah, man, that's the Waves inTrigger plugin. Let me know in the comment section below if you've ever tried any sort of sample replacement plugin, and let me know in the comment section below if you're going to try this one by Waves. So that's going to be for now, man. If you got something from this, make sure you leave me a like and subscribe to the channel if you've not. And if you want to book my services for mixing and mastering, I'm going to leave a link below to the Engineers page, or you can hit me up on Instagram at @BedMacaulay_DB. And if you want to buy my vocal preset for Logic, Pro Tools, and FL Studio, as well as mastering presets, I'm going to leave a link below to the store as well. All right, so that's it for now. I shall see you on the next one. BedMacaulay out.